I thought Milwaukee winning the title, outside of not being the Knicks, was great for your sport. And great for your sport because it wasn't a quote-unquote super team. I just wonder overall how you feel about guys in the league kind of, getting together saying, all right, all three of us are going to go here and build this super team to win a title. Do you think that's ultimately long-term good for the sport, or you not like it?
I'm not crazy about it. I mean, first, just to your point a minute ago about the Bucks, I thought that was amazing.
It was awesome.
For the league, and I thought, the fact that Giannis chose to stay in Milwaukee, I think it's a point that I've been making for years, that in a global league where people take out their phones and, regardless of where they are on the planet, can now watch the NBA, that the difference in market size between, let's say, Milwaukee and Chicago is almost irrelevant now to these players. They want to be where they can win. In terms of players coming together, number one, I don't think we're ever going to have a rule where players can't talk to each other. That's always going to be the case. And I think there are improvements we can make to the system. It's something as we go back into a collective bargaining cycle with the players. And I don't necessarily think it has to be as adversarial as some people think, because 450 players in the league all want to win championships. And while they want the ability to become free agents and then go to a team of their choice, they also have an interest in parity around the league and ensuring that the top players are distributed in a fair way. And so you got to find that right balance where when teams are built through the draft and, smart basketball people are making decisions and putting good combinations of players together, you want that to be rewarded. But I think whether it's the players coming together themselves or, smart GMs bringing them together, you don't want to see too much talent aggregated in one place.
No, how important is it? LeBron said this past season that seeing the Garden rocking, as it was in the series against Atlanta, just felt right, seemed right, good for the league, right? And I know while you don't root for the Knicks, you're the commissioner, and you love all the teams. Did you feel the same way, that seeing the Knicks back in the postseason, even though they didn't win, just seemed right?
Yes, although I want to be careful here, because as I travel around the league, and I did a ton even in this year's playoffs, you want to see that in every market you go to.
I get it. Yep.
Look, I'm a New York guy. I grew up here. It's great to see the Knicks successful. I know that in terms of what people talk to me about as the commissioner, whether I'm just walking into your studio today or walking in my neighborhood, people love to talk about the Knicks and increasingly, by the way, talk about the Nets in New York too. So it's great to see what they're building there. But it's been a terrific story, and that energy in Madison Square Garden. I know when that was one of the first nationally televised playoff games where we had a full arena.
Right.
And you probably heard the same thing. Like a lot of my friends who don't work in sports, work in, you name it, banking, real estate, media, like when they saw that Madison Square Garden full, it was almost like, wow, like pandemic's ending. We're back.
Yeah, it felt right.
And now, unfortunately, like we're seeing now a little bit of a sea change with the Delta variant, and people are losing a little bit of their confidence, which I hope they get back soon. But I know for people, watching people come together in Madison Square Garden, I think that was meaningful.
How much do you do it with an eye on, we're bringing them in, we're doing business with them, but we also want to be really, really spot on when it comes to setting the message of responsible gambling, letting people know that there are outlets to get help, that you may develop a problem. And how do you weigh the benefits of the financial gain for the owners versus the responsibility of, hey, we could have a problem here?
The short answer is you have to strike the right balance. I think part of the issue for us, and it's something I pointed out when we were first advocating for legalized sports betting, is that, as you said, there are going to be problem gamblers, and that 10% are probably the group that are most likely to bet illegally, and if there isn't a legal alternative. And the notion learned a lot from European sports betting that has been around for decades, that if you can move the action to a legal platform, largely where people are using credit cards and have to identify themselves, you're going to be much more successful at identifying a problem gambler than you are if you keep pushing it all underground.
I agree.
And so that was part of my thinking, and my background in NBA entertainment. We're moving into, putting our games on the internet and all kinds of digital products. It was clear back when, and it's not that many years ago, when everything was largely still illegal in the United States, that I used to say in presentations that go to Google and put in Bet NBA. Everything was still illegal in the United
Right.
States. And you could spend a week looking at the number of sites on there that had little credit card ads
Sure.
and everything else. So people were doing it. Now, if you talk to FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, et cetera, William Hill, that they have really sophisticated algorithms where just kind of like insider trading on a stock exchange.
No, they can pick it out.
They can pick it out.
exist. Yep.
It doesn't capture everything. So that's part of the issue, moving it legalized. Number two is, as you said, we have an obligation. It's not just to find the right balance, but it's to make sure we're not sending the wrong messages to the 10%, that we're constantly repeating responsible messages, that we're using our public service announcements, that we limit the amount of advertising we take in our games for sports betting. And I'll just say that for us, it's not quite the gold mine I think a lot of fans think it is in terms of the betting itself. The most impactful issue for us is the additional engagement that you get from it. And
Right.
From your callers, from your own experience, that you can take a game that you might not otherwise have a lot of interest in.
Sure.
But if you have a betting interest, you're all in on it. And so part of it for us is finding new ways to engage fans. And
Especially younger fans.
and it's true. And if the vast majority of people do it in a responsible way
Yep.
and get joy from it. And I think there are analogies to alcohol, other substances in our lives where if overused, it can be incredibly destructive, but you can still get joy from it.